Welcome back, guys. This is our Daily Victory cooking tutorials with me, Emily Kramer. So today we're going to cook a almond flour crust pizza. The nice thing about this is that it's really filling. You don't need a lot of pieces. I know some people have kids and they'll buy a pizza and they can eat like the whole pizza, and that's clearly not healthy, and what you're feeding them isn't always healthy. The nice thing about this pizza, it's very filling. You can make it your own. And the almond flour is very, very healthy, and it's a great alternative to regular flour. So to make this pizza crust, all you need is 2 beaten eggs. You need 2 cups of almond flour and then some salt. So what I do is I actually double it. I do that just so that I can fill this huge pan and make a pizza that'll last my husband and I an entire week of lunches. So I've already got my eggs beaten, and I'm just going to scoop my almond flour in. The nice thing about almond flour is it's protein. So when you're eating it, you're getting a lot of protein and you're not getting as many carbs as you would with a normal pizza. So that's really, really great, and it's really, really healthy. I don't feel bad when I eat a couple slices of this pizza because it's so healthy for you that, you know, as long as you put the right things on it, it's very healthy for you and it tastes really, really good. Obviously, when you use almond flour opposed to regular flour, it's going to be a lot more dense than you would think. So just know that it may not look like a lot of pizza that you're making for your family, but it fills them up really, really fast. So you don't need a lot of it to do that anyways. So I'm just going to put a little bit extra in there since it was the end of my almond flour bag. So there's my almond flour. All you do is you just put those beaten eggs in there. When you're done with that, then you're going to add the salt. I just go by my best judgment. You can do about a teaspoon of salt, tablespoon. What's on my pan here is I put olive oil down. The great thing about the olive oil is that it helps coat the pan, but it also will go into the dough and give it a nice flavor, and also keep it nice and soft. You can also use a number of other types of oils. I sometimes will use a white truffle olive oil, which gives it a really nice flavor. It's just really what you think your family will like. So once we're done with that, we're just going to mix it on up, and then you're going to press it into your pan. Now, just know that the almond flour mixture for the dough is going to be really, really sticky. So it's definitely going to stick to your hands. Sometimes you can add a little flour to your hands to keep it from sticking to yourself. But it's just going to happen. You're just going to have to deal with it. But the end result is going to be really, really good. Alright guys, so we're back. As you know, we are making the almond flour crust pizza. So it doesn't have to be pretty, it just has to work. So make sure everything's spread out evenly as best you can. This is something great that you can do with the kids in the kitchen. Kids like playing with dough. I know I did when I was younger. And this is a great fun thing for you guys to do as a family. And it's so easy and it doesn't take long to do. So what we did is we did a double batch. We did 4 cups of almond flour, and we did 4 beaten eggs and put some salt in there. And then as the pan had olive oil on there, we just spread the dough out all over the pan. It's gonna be sticky, it's gonna get all over your fingers. Don't worry, it happens. Just do the best you can, because like I said, you're gonna eat it, it doesn't have to look pretty. So when that's done, and your oven is done preheating, set at 425, you're going to put the crust in for 15 minutes, roughly, and cook the crust first. When you're done with that, then you're going to bring out the crust, and that's when you're going to put on all your toppings and can make whatever kind of pizza that you want, okay? Alright guys, so the pizza crust is done. And that's just the initial part of making your pizza. You want to cook the crust first for about 12 to 15 minutes on 350. I think I said 425 at first. I rechecked, it's actually 350, so sorry about that. So you just want to cook the crust first, and then you're going to put your toppings on. So I always either make my own sauce, or I find an organic pizza sauce. You can find it anywhere like Sprouts, Whole Foods. Just go look in the pizza section or the sauce section, and you should be able to find something if you don't want to make your own. So I go ahead and I pour it all on. My husband likes a lot of sauce on his pizza. And plus it seeps into the crust, so it makes it really, really, really good. Next thing you want to do, obviously, is you just want to spread it all around on the pizza dough. And then when I put my toppings on, I usually do my toppings in layers. So I will do just a little bit of cheese first, and then I will go ahead and put all my vegetables on the bottom part, and then I will put any meats on top, and then I always do cheese in between those layers. That way it's spread throughout and you just don't have like a ton of cheese right on top or on directly on the crust itself. Sometimes when you do that and you take a bite of the pizza, all your toppings fall off, and that's something that I absolutely hate to have happen. So all I do is I spread everything out. Okay. And then I just start putting on all my toppings. So like I said, I start with the cheese. You don't need much for the start, for just the base. You just want to put a very thin layer on all across the cheese, or all across the pizza crust. Once again, this is a great recipe that you can do with your kids or your family, just because it's so easy to do and it's so much fun that they get to make their own pizza and pick their own toppings. This pizza in particular I'm doing because I'm going to be out of town. And so I always try to make my husband these really easy meals that he can reheat or have for a few days or even a week while I'm gone. It makes it so much easier for him to have to cook things when he's on his lunch break, or even just for dinner if he's really tired after a work day. That way he doesn't have to think about cooking things when he gets home really late. He can just come home, relax, and then just enjoy a nice meal. So this is really great for anything like that, and it, like I said, it lasts a long time. The crust is very dense, and it's protein. It's not carbs, so you don't burn it off quite as fast. So it fills you up really fast, and it's really, really great for you to eat on numerous occasions. We'll make this, and it'll be meal for the whole week. My husband's very, very simple sometimes with his pizza, so this is just going to be a mushroom and pepperoni pizza. Now, I don't normally use pepperoni so much for myself. Sometimes, depending on the pepperoni or different meats that you get, there can be, if they're not organic, they can have nitrites and nitrates. So it's really just your preference. Obviously, kids are going to like stuff like pepperoni. Just be careful of how much you're feeding them. I usually will do maybe some bacon on mine because I don't eat a lot of bacon. Or I will just do a straight veggie one, which is really great. I do mushrooms, different colored peppers, onions, and then I just cook it all together, and it's really, really great. So now that all of the sauce is on, a thin layer of cheese, I put all the mushrooms on for his veggie pizza, and then I put the cheese on top. The last thing that I'm going to put on is his pepperonis. Now, you can get all sorts of different kinds. If I do have pepperoni on my pizza, I like to chop it up into really, really thin small slices, so I'm really not getting that much, but I can have a little bit of flavor. My husband, on the other hand, he really likes to have lots of pepperoni. So I just go ahead and I load it on up. When you're done with that, I then put a little bit of cheese on top so that it can melt everything down. And then I put it back in the oven for another 15 minutes. The way that you can tell if your pizza is done is, of course, if the cheese is all melted, it should have like a real pretty golden look on top. And then another way that you can tell is just if the timer goes off. So it's really your preference. If you just want your cheese really melty, you can just take it out then. It doesn't have to be golden, or you can take it out when the cheese is starting to bubble up a little bit and get really golden brown. This is really, really simple, and it's done in 30 minutes. So if you have a busy night with the kids and they're out doing sports and stuff and you just need something quick, this is really easy because you can help with homework in between the sessions of actually doing something with the pizza. And obviously the prep time is nothing. So, you know, it's just really, really simple, and it's so delicious when you're done. So I'm just going to finish up with these pepperonis. Then, like I said, I'm going to put it back in the oven for 15 minutes or until all the cheese is nice and melty and gooey. Put a little more cheese on top. I don't know about you guys, but I like a lot of cheese on my pizza. When I was younger, my parents used to order extra cheese for my older sister and I. We'd get nothing on it, just a cheese pizza with extra cheese. It's probably not the most healthy, but, you know, your kids, they might really like that. Alright, so now you can see my pizza's nice and loaded up. It's obviously a lot heavier than it was when I started. I'm just going to go ahead, slide that in the oven, and set the timer for another 15 minutes. When that goes off, I'll show you how great the pizza looks when it's done. Alright guys, the timer's off. That means our pizza's done. Now, the timer did go off at 15 minutes. I decided to put it in for another 5 minutes just to make sure that I got that nice golden-y crust and cheese going. And you can see that it's kind of bubbling. That's just the way that you want it. Now, definitely let this cool and then bon appetit, okay? This has been your almond flour pizza crust, and if you have any other questions, please go to ourdailyvictory.com. You can go to the contact page and ask those questions there, and please sign up for a newsletter for more exclusive content and recipes straight from Our Daily Victory. I'm Emily Kramer, and thank you so much again, and we'll see you next time.